All right, welcome in. Wrong side of the pond. Special hanging out in a living room edition.
It's a little bit more casual today.
Or drinking.
Yeah, we are.
I guess we've done that in the past.
We have, but it had to be a little bit more covert.
It was like in a brown bag kind of situation.
Yeah, we had to make sure we were looking over our shoulders while we were drinking.
Clean up.
Mm-hmm.
Lysol the place after we're done.
Now we can just chill.
We're just hanging out in your living room.
Yeah, it's nice.
Watching the national championship game. It started out like an epic, United Swansea match.
Yeah.
And then it's now fizzled into like Stoke Sunderland.
So it's not exactly been exciting. And of course, we're talking about egg ball, not the football that we normally talk about.
Yes, the BCS National Championship.
It's excitement right now.
So we got that on in the background. You got a little fire going too. That's pretty nice. That's pretty classy.
I try to make it cozy, you know?
It's cozy. But yeah, we are sort of the new situation now.
For the time being.
We're probably going to try to clean up the equipment situation. Maybe get something a little swankier.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a full week going on. A lot of stuff. We had New Year's Day. Full lineup of EPL action.
We also had some FA Cup.
We had some FA Cup. Did you enjoy the FA Cup? What is now going to be a brief FA Cup for you?
I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it one bit.
Your FA Cup's over.
It is. So, hey, more time to focus on a single competition.
That's right.
Yeah. Well,
go for that fourth place trophy.
We still have another one too, but I don't necessarily really give too much of a crap about the Europa League.
Oh, come on, it's the Europa.
Well,
Chelsea won that, and they're awesome.
Well, hey, everyone has to hang their hat on something.
Got it. And Rafa did.
Mm-hmm.
He's hanging his hat on that epic Europa win. But yeah, we got that. We got, it's January.
Yeah, so we have a lot of transfers to talk about, or potential transfers.
A lot of rumors.
Mm-hmm.
So the rumor mill is spinning, just like it always is, and we'll help let it go a couple cycles, talk about a few of the things going on. Actually, Team USA members.
Yeah,
making some moves. Breck Shea.
Yeah, he has. We've mooted it for a while. We talked about
free that. Breck.
Yeah, he's been freed for a month at least to bottom feeders, Barnsley in the championship. So we knew he was going down a league.
Right.
And he went to the worst team in the championship. But he did put in a good shift for him, and they got a result. So,
hey, there you go.
Yeah.
So, hey, maybe turning the tide.
Yeah, perhaps.
But some other things going on, some transfer news. We actually, just as we were sitting down, had some beautiful information from Sepp Blatter, who let us know that, hey, were you guys all thinking that things weren't going well in Brazil? I can now confirm that.
Yeah. It's weird that it took him until January, 6 months before the tournament kicks off.
Mid New Year's resolution, he's going to tell the truth more.
Yeah. This year, I'm going to confess.
I'm going to be more forthcoming with information that I already know.
Yeah. But not until it's too late to stop the tide. So.
Yeah, no, it's too late to turn back now, but hey, what you going to do?
Nowhere to go but up.
I'm just going to sit by and wait around for that 2016 Copa America bid.
Ooh, we'll get into that one too.
We will. Let's start there with the EPL. Things got cracking early, and I'm going to go ahead and sit back and enjoy my line and cool you got from me here. Manchester United won. Spurs, they got the deuce.
They did. So for the second straight year, Spurs actually pulled out a result at Old Trafford.
Got the W.
That's kind of impressive.
That's a big thing.
But it's
a big deal.
It is a big deal until this year when everyone beats them at home.
Yeah, that's true.
So it makes it a little less special. But at least going there and getting a result, and given what's happened at Spurs over the last, month, 2 months, any kind of positive result at Old Trafford is something that we were going to take, a lot of pride from. So I'm actually really pleased with it overall.
Oh, I would say even in a year where you're talking about a away win against a mid-table club, it's still United at home.
Yeah.
It's still United in Old Trafford. That's still a big deal.
It is. So I'll say this much. Spurs do look a little bit revitalized under Sherwood.
They're scoring goals.
We're scoring goals.
So that's already a difference.
Adebayor continues to be pretty impressive for Spurs. You have to wonder what AVB is thinking about this entire situation right now.
Nothing good.
No.
What is he doing now? Like, what do you think what do you do after you get sacked? As a high-profile manager.
Sit around and collect a paycheck?
I mean, I know RDM, I think, is living stateside. I think he's in New York right now. Just kind of just tooling around, just collecting 130,000
a
week.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's something you could live on, I think.
I think he could make it do.
It seems to be the thing for managers when they're done coaching for a little bit to come over here and spend like a sabbatical in the U.S. Guardiola did it. He lived in New York.
He did.
In between stints at Barcelona and now Bayern. Brushed up on his English just enough to make us all think he was taking the Manchester United job this summer.
Yeah.
But no. He ended up going to Bayern. So maybe
How is his German?
I'm sure it's impeccable.
Yeah.
You know.
Find that very hard to believe.
Well, you never know. He does seem quite the genius.
He's
or
a
at least that's how everyone's
perfectionist.
selling him. So, but we're talking about Spurs, not how.
Well, we were talking about AVB.
Yeah.
Just he's wearing the world's Carmen Sandiego style.
Yeah. Who knows?
What's going on with that guy?
I could totally see him picking up Carmen Sandiego style clothes. You know,
he would look good in a
he'd
red
look good in a
trench coat.
red trench coat for sure. So, no, it's a fabulous result for Spurs. Something we obviously needed. It's lifted us to a decent spot in the table, sitting in sixth now. So, still well within the fight for fourth. So I'm feeling pretty good about all of that, which we needed.
For United, though, and we'll get into it when we talk FA Cup. This was another dip.
Yeah.
Just when you think they're kind of, and I talked about it. They had this great run in December, and it's like, look who they were playing. I kept saying, look who they were playing.
Yep.
And their first jump out of the gate against an actual test, and there they go. They drop at home to Spurs.
Yeah, well, it's kind of interesting. Someone had listed some of the teams that they had lost to at home so far this season, and a lot of the last times they had lost to that team at Old Trafford were like in the 80s and 70s. Swansea picked up their very first win there ever in the FA Cup, and again, we'll get into that match a little bit later. But it's kind of like incredible to see United just dropping games that they never did. And again, this is something we'll probably talk more about later, but Moyes is starting to feel the pressure, and it's gotta be wondering.
Yeah, I think we were always kind of you're so hesitant to say something as crazy as this new United manager is so on the hot seat. He's getting a can. He can't turn this around. Now, granted, what month are we in?
Yeah, I mean, it's just January.
It's just January, but it is already January.
Yeah.
You can look at it both ways. And who knows? I mean, they could go out. They could splash. I mean, there's apparently some, they're looking at signing apparently half of Dortmund.
Yeah, apparently.
So the part that's not already going to Bayern Munich. They could make some moves that could really benefit this club, possibly. I mean, you never know with them. They are a club that, despite where they are right now, people want to play for them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a club that someone's career is made on.
Well, not only that, but think of, you show up at Man United, almost like Ozil has at Arsenal, and shit, they haven't even won anything yet.
Right.
But he's totally resurrected the club and their spirits. Could you imagine being the guy that shows up at Manchester United and saves them? And what a hero that would make you, and a legend that would make you?
Man, they might knight you.
Yeah, they might. So there are players that will look at Man United and say, that's a project for me. Who those players are going to be, well...
Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's move over to the other Manchester City. Swansea 2, City 3, and it's like a broken record. City, they're away, and they play like garbage.
Right. So, I mean, City, we've talked about it time and time again this season, not the team that they are at home, where they're trouncing people. But on the road, they just can't seem to get over the hump. And it's never the same story with them. Sometimes they come out and they're completely flat. They never really show up. Yeah. In this match, they had some fight in them.
I mean, offensively, they played well, I guess.
But they just never can see.
3 should have been enough.
Yeah, it should have been. And it just enough was.
It was just squeaked by.
So it's interesting. I don't know that they know exactly what their best team is still, which is odd for a team that's clearly sitting towards the top of the table at the moment. But at the same time, they're still a work in progress. So they don't seem quite as shaky as they had been on the road. They're still eking out, 3 points and 1 point here on the road, and that's not bad results. Those are the kind of results that can win you titles. But it is a concern. It remains a concern, and something that they're going to have to look at a little bit closer moving forward.
Chelsea, Southampton got together. Southampton 0, Chelsea 3. It was looking worrisome the first half was early season Chelsea, just ho-hum.
Mm-hmm.
Had chances. Southampton had chances. They just chose to do zero with their chances.
Right.
And really so did Chelsea for the most part. The second half, things get turned on its head.
Right.
First of all, we got to talk about it. Oscar, he's in on goal. He's got a chance to just slip it around the keeper, and instead he just takes sniper fire. He goes down.
Yeah, it was embarrassingly bad.
So bad.
And it's the kind of dive that when people are really ragging on soccer that don't know anything about soccer, those are the type of moments that get shown on SportsCenter that completely screw us over.
Where the hand just grazes his foot. I'm going down.
I mean, if he had stayed up, he would have scored.
Oh, yeah, he was already free.
It was a clear opportunity on goal that he bypassed to win a penalty. Now, we saw this again. This is another one of those. It happened again in the FA Cup. Just a different player with Ramirez. But there is this kind of theory that maybe Mourinho, a man who is known for his on-field hijinks, especially a situation that he was quite often accused for at Real Madrid, where he had players just nearly on the edge of serving yellow card suspensions in meaningless group games in the Champions League, and he had them intentionally pick up yellow cards so that they would miss their last Champions League group game that didn't matter, and they would be reset for the important matches.
And so that he wouldn't be accused of just loafing out some crap side.
Yeah. So it seems like the type of strategy. If you get a penalty called on a goalkeeper, if he's the last man back, that's a red card.
Well, if you listen to what Mourinho said afterwards, he essentially said that. He said, oh, hey, Oscar, thought he had the penalty there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Don't you want the goal, not the penalty?
Do you want the goal or do you want the penalty? And he said he was not happy that Oscar did that, but that I would say he's more unhappy with the fact that Oscar got called out on it.
Yeah, I think that's the case too.
So the match had that black eye, and everyone's been talking about it. I mean, I was ripping on ESPN FC, their Sunday night show. The only highlight they showed of the Chelsea FA Cup match was the red card, or was the dive by Ramirez.
Right.
Not the goals, not a save by Czech, which I don't think he really had to have any, but just that.
The dive.
And that's all it's about.
So, I mean, that's exactly the point I was trying to make.
It's the talking point.
It's the talking point. And Mourinho is a master of creating talking points.
He is.
And his team seem to benefit from it. So it'll be interesting to see how he spins this and you guys move forward with it a little bit further.
And yes, Liverpool fans, I understand the irony of being fresh off him calling out Suarez, saying he was an acrobatic swimming diver or whatever it was, some weird thing he called it. Yeah, I get it. It's pretty hypocritical that he was just calling out Suarez and now his own players are doing the exact same thing in a very blatant way.
Well, Jeremy, if you hadn't even brought that up, everyone would have forgotten about this. Because we're football fans, and we have 15-minute memories.
I feel like, for some people, they'll never forgive Mourinho for calling out the mighty Suarez.
Well, there are some people that would never forgive Mourinho for a lot of things. So, Get in line, Liverpool fans.
I already forgive him for that eye poke.
Yeah.
Instantly. I was like,
Yeah.
forgiven. I do have to say two other things about that.
Okay.
We had Mata coming off in the 53rd minute, and he was not happy.
No, he was
Threw
not.
his jacket onto the bench, shouting,
He
yelling.
hadn't played poorly either.
He hadn't played poorly. He didn't play. I mean, he wasn't exactly standing out.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't as if he was just crap in the bed and they had to pull him off. But it was kind of one of those signs of, and the press kind of called Jose out on this. Of, is this a guy you still want here, Jose? I mean, is this a person that's still in the plans?
Mm-hmm.
Which he claims that he is. Yet the door is open.
Yeah.
I want you to stay, but I'm totally cool if you leave.
We get enough money for you. I'll entertain the offer.
I want you to stay, but I also want money.
Yeah.
To hopefully spend on a striker. The other thing, I have to do it. Gotta apologize. Sorry, William. You don't suck.
Yeah.
I thought you did. You did at certain points. The Arsenal match was an absolute travesty. He played well, and he had an absolute beaut of a goal.
Yes, he absolutely did. It's weird. Williams actually played increasingly well over the last few appearances.
Ever since that Arsenal match. I mean, the Arsenal match was a bad scene.
We were all scratching our heads as to why he was even playing the way he even came out and performed in that particular match. But I think he has gradually raised the levels of his game. We always kind of shortchange players for this, but it takes a while to adjust to playing English football. It's a lot higher pace than most other leagues. The fitness levels are significantly higher. The likelihood of you getting a wrecking tackle coming at you, especially for a skilled player like Willian, is something you have to actually adjust to.
In other leagues, you don't have a big fleshy white guy just gunning for your legs.
Right. But playing against John Terry every day in practice will treat you,
get
to
used
that
to
kind
it.
of, play. So I think this is something that a lot of people expected of him. It makes a lot of sense why Chelsea and Spurs were willing to spend a lot of money. Too bad you guys trumped us, you bastards. But
I still contend that was literally Jose just telling AVB, hey, I'm still in charge here.
yeah, that's exactly what he was
Sit
doing.
down, you shut your mouth.
Yeah, and he laughed when he got fired. So, typical.
Other match, top of the table, gotta talk about him. Arsenal 2. Cardiff 0 looks good on paper.
Not quite the performance that it
Arsenal
on paper.
leaving it late at the 87th minute. They finally get a goal from Bentner of all people.
Mm-hmm.
Theo Walcott, back when his legs were still operational, he scores then in the 90th to seal things up. But another shaky performance from Arsenal.
Yeah. But again, even when they play shaky, they're still picking up the points. So we keep ridiculing them for this.
You're waiting for
You want it to happen.
You're waiting for the wheels to fall off.
We all want.
And for 87 minutes, you're thinking,
it might happen. It might happen
because City's already won.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea is winning at that point. You think, they're slipping out of first today.
Yeah.
No, they squeak one out. They get those 2 late goals.
So now that
survival.
So now that Wenger is the longest serving manager in the league,
the dean of the EPL.
Yeah, the dean of the EPL. Does he automatically inherit all the luck that Fergie had? Because it seems to be happening that way.
Wait, are you saying we have Wenger time now?
Well, Walcott's goal was almost Wenger time.
The 90th minute, yeah.
Yeah, but they're seeming to get a lot of the breaks that they weren't getting the last few years. Arsenal were always one of those teams that were
hard
just
luck.
about there, but they always got hard done by luck. The game that I always think of is the Champions League semifinal when they were playing against Barcelona, and Van Persie got the yellow card at the Camp Nou, and he got it for shooting when there was an offside called, and the ref gave him a yellow card, and it was enough to see him accumulate enough cards to be suspended for the next final. And he turns and points at the entire stadium saying, "How can I hear this?"
Oh, yeah.
And it was totally unfair. I hate Arsenal, but I felt for the guy because it sucked. And it was those type of events that you tended to see just not go their way. But they're getting those breaks now. And I wonder if it's because he's the dean of the EPL.
Now will he luck out and finally be able to zip a coat?
Well, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, can't win them all. So they stay top of the table. One of the top teams of the season, almost losing points here, big time. Stoke won, Everton won, and it was Leighton Baines converting a PK in stoppage time.
Yeah, so it was a late call. Obviously, the Potters weren't big fans of such a late call, especially at home. Another team that used to have great home form, but isn't quite the fortress that it used to be, is Stoke at the Britannia.
No, I despise Stoke.
Yeah,
they are unwatchable football.
Yeah,
and for people like us, we're always trying to get our friends to watch soccer, and Stoke is the antithesis of what you want your friends to see on TV.
They have taken over the role, for me at least, of Bolton. I just hated Bolton when they were playing. Up until
they had Americans.
Yeah, until Stu Holden went there, and then I liked Owen Coyle when he took over as well.
Our boy.
Yeah, good old Owen Coyle.
Our friend.
Yeah. We spent some time.
And another guy who's fired is just kind of wandered around.
Yeah, just taking a sabbatical.
On a walkabout.
So, but Stoke, again, performing decently, but just not able to quite pull it out.
But for Everton, that was huge, though.
Yeah.
Saving that point was huge. Liverpool 2, Hull City 0. So Liverpool, they revenge their loss at Hull from a couple weeks ago. And finally, Suarez did it. He's back.
He's back.
He scored a freaking goal.
Yeah, it had been so long for the guy.
He sits on 20.
Oh, man. It's only 20
goals as of New Year's Day.
Oh, yeah. He still had a ridiculous season. And mind you...
His season could end now, and it's success.
Impressive. Yeah, it is. And he still missed the first 5 matches.
Yeah.
So, ridiculous. So, not surprising to see him back in scoring charts.
Sunderland 0, Aston Villa 1. I have very little on this one.
I didn't watch it, but it's...
Brad Guzan got the clean sheet. He only had to make one save.
Well,
and he made it.
He did. Way to go, Brad.
He got that one save.
That's one of those 6-pointers, because Villa are definitely down there in the doldrums alongside Sunderland, obviously a little bit higher, but a team that you need to pick up points against the teams that you're actually fighting relegation against.
Yeah,
that's a big result for them.
Sunderland actually held possession 65-35.
Well, they say something about possession. If it doesn't produce any goals, it's not worth shit.
See Chelsea.
Yes.
Another match. I just in my notes I wrote down whatever. Norwich 1, Crystal Palace 1.
Yeah, that's about accurate. Yeah, whatever.
Fulham 2, West Ham 1. A little bit of a basement battle.
Yep, absolutely.
It's pre-Dempsey. Dempsey was there. He was just kind of chilling.
Taking in the sights.
Having a pie.
Probably, waving to adorning fans.
Yeah.
So.
Maybe kiss some babies.
Yeah, he would be the type that would do that. I am the savior.
Did you ever think a team like Fulham, whose fan base, as we've talked about before, very studious, a lot of English lit majors in the crowd, that their hero is, an absolute yokel from Texas?
Yeah, he's a trailer park kid, tatted up, has a crappy rap career.
Oh, yeah.
And he is there.
Bass fisher.
Yeah, bass fisher extraordinaire. I think half his Instagram is taken up of pictures of him holding fish.
I think it was part of the reason why Seattle won out is because of the teams that were looking at him. I think they had the best fishing situation going on there.
Yeah, probably. So it is a bit of an odd pick for them.
It is. It's an odd relationship. Him and the Cottagers.
Brian McBride seemed more along the lines of the type of cat that
Brian McBride looks like a guy you would see on a college campus.
Yeah, he does. Mostly
Dempsey, love him to death. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't see that happening as well.
He went to a good school.
He did.
Yeah, good old Furman University in Greenville, South Carolina.
I've been on that campus by accident.
By accident?
Yeah, we were trying to get to Clemson. Took a wrong turn. Turned too early.
It is a really long way off from there, so it is one hell of a long term. No, My family are the number of Furman alums.
Oh, there you go.
My dad and all of his siblings went there. Anyway, but Clint is quite the odd duck for a Fulham savior. So we'll see what he can do.
Then one final match, and we saved the best for last. West Brom 1, Newcastle 0. I believe there was a red card.
Mm-hmm.
Debucci.
Yep.
He got sent off, I think, in the 62nd minute.
So it's really just Newcastle being Newcastle.
So really, what we're saying is this would have been 0-0, but Newcastle went to 10 men.
Yeah. So it just gave slight enough advantage to West Brom to make it quasi-interesting.
That's how Newcastle matches, they hinge on how many people get sent off.
Yeah.
We had a couple weeks ago where, I forget who they were playing, but that side had 2 people sent off, and they just went off.
Yeah, it's always kind of been Newcastle's story. We bring red cards.
Who's getting tossed?
They're getting them. So,
the weekend did bring the first meaningful round, but the third round of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And kind of a mixed bag of results.
Yeah, there were a lot of little teams that were still in it, so it doesn't quite have the lore that you normally see from some of the bigger matchups.
Yeah, we did have. We had what I think I counted at least 2 League 2 sides getting the W.
That's pretty impressive.
Moving on.
Yeah.
That's I would say that's fairly impressive. I mean, they were playing, I believe in both cases, they were playing championship sides, so it's still pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go over some of the results, but once again, I defer to you. Arsenal 2, Tottenham did not get on the board.
No. Yeah, so this soured the FA Cup for me a little bit this weekend.
You're out.
I am out. We're out. I'm out.
Days off for you.
Days off now, and I don't have to pay attention to this worthless competition. No, I'm sour grapes in a little bit. This was a tie that when I saw it, especially given the current turmoil that's going on at the club, I just kind of wrote off this match.
It was a bad time for a North London derby.
It was not the right time for us to be facing the Gunners again. And while I was like, well, yeah, it's a derby, and I kind of outwardly was like, screw them, we're going to take it to them. I knew that we weren't going to win this match. And Spurs played well, through the early stretches, but playing in this 4-4-2 against even a rested Arsenal midfield that's not exactly featuring some of their classier players like Ozil. Without
Walcott
them,
was, but
yeah, Walcott. Well, we'll get there in a second.
Yeah,
against an Arsenal midfield that almost always has 5 men in it, it just seemed like it was going to be trouble, and it was. Dawson looking slow, exposed against a pacey frontline forward, midfield getting overrun by a number of skilled players. It really wasn't ever going to be a result we were going to get. So
it was on Big Fox. Were you at least excited about the fact that it was on?
I was excited about that. It's the type of performance that wins more Arsenal fans than the American market, and makes me.
You saying Tottenham is the Cincinnati Bengals of national broadcasts, that they can't perform?
Yeah.
When the world is looking.
I think that's probably accurate. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Who is the Andy Dalton of Spurs?
Oh,
just
God.
Great otherwise, but then just in key situations, just crap in the bed.
Adebayor. It's got to be Adebayor.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the last time that Adebayor played at the Emirates, and this was something I was totally worried about going into the match, he scored a goal like 10 minutes in the game, was playing out of his mind, but he was so hyped up that he went in for a ridiculous studs-up challenge and saw red 15 minutes into the match, and then we lost 5-1. So that's totally Adebayor. Can do something awesome, but is just as likely to explode the entire.
And this was the guy that kind of he's seen a bit of a career rebirth.
Mm-hmm.
Under the new leadership.
Yep. So he didn't play poorly. Spurs didn't really play that bad overall. It just never looked like a matchup we were going to win in our current state. So from that perspective, I saw the result we do. It allows us to focus on the Premier League for the rest of the year. Yeah, we still have the Europa League, but the Premier League needs to be the focus. Top 4, obviously, is where we're aiming. If we can battle it out, maybe that's what we're going to do. But for the time being, it's still disappointing to lose. But there were some other points to talk about from this match that were
I
just
was going to say,
related.
you guys did have a chance to actually get back in this match because late on, with all 3 subs used up, Theo Walcott's leg came clean off.
Yes. He didn't really seem that hurt.
He was doing fine enough to taunt the Tottenham fans as he sat up in his little chariot that sent him off.
So he was being stretchered off after what we have learned today is going to lay devastating news. A 6-month layoff coming for Theo Walcott.
So that's no EPL season done.
Yeah, World Cup season.
World Cup done.
Yeah, but blew out his ACL. And as he's being stretchered off, he gives the 2-0 sign
2-0
as he passes by the corner full of Tottenham fans. You know, we love to talk crap to players online and talk smack to them as fans and talk smack to each other. But when a player does it, it's like, oh man, what a bastard. Like, everyone was so pissed about that if you're a Spurs fan. Whereas anyone else that was either a neutral or an Arsenal fan was like, ha, that's pretty freaking funny.
Look at that dick.
Yeah, look at that dick. He's just goading them.
I chuckled.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did. For his troubles, Walcott was rained down upon with a bunch of coins.
Yeah.
So that visibly you could see objects being thrown from the stand, missiles as they call them in England. Tottenham fans really not being classy. It's totally indefensible.
It was just all around a very classy affair.
Yeah. So the FA Cup was a dark patch on my weekend.
It was, and I posed this to you with the Capital One Cup.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are out.
Yeah.
Do you care?
I think the FA Cup, I'm not as likely to blow it off as I might be for...
It matters somewhat.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a big tournament, and you still get more of those awesome results in the FA Cup that you don't get as often in the Carling Cup, I feel like, or the Capital One Cup.
Because, I mean, if you win Capital One, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But, Swansea is the defending champ right now.
Yeah, that's true. That was also the last cup that Spurs won.
Therefore, Wigan is the defending FA Cup champ. So I guess that's, by going by that, it's not the best way to do it.
It just doesn't have the same...
No, if you win the FA Cup, that's a big deal.
It is. It's still a big deal. So, and we got to see some of the magic. We may have just violated a trademark by calling it the magic of the cup.
Uh-oh.
Because that's, how they always bill this
tournament.
tournament.
Otherwise, he's coming after us.
But we still had some big upsets.
We did. We had some upsets, especially, I mentioned 2 League 2 sides moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Leeds going down 2-0 to Rochdale of League 2.
Mm.
It was actually a pretty decent match. This was... I kind of made fun of Fox a bit because they actually aired this match.
Mm-hmm.
It was like this, and then it on... I forget which one was on FS1 and which one was on FS2, but it was like that, and then Grimsby Huddleston was the other one.
Yeah, so really high key.
I was like, really? These are our 2 options here? This is what I get?
Hey, they're trying to show all those little...
I can watch either Grimsby or Rochdale.
Well,
they were actually both really good matches. They kind of showed that's what the FA Cup, at least early on, was all about.
Right.
These clubs that you otherwise don't care about, don't know anything about, couldn't name a soul on the team, just playing just their hearts out.
Yeah.
And that was Rochdale.
Mm.
I mean, they played Leeds like it was the freaking UEFA Cup final.
And it was their UEFA Cup
It was.
final.
That was the Champions League right there.
So, we saw that. That was obviously one of the bigger ones. One that has to be made mention of, just because it's a lower league side knocking off a Premier League side. Nottingham Forest 5,
Whew.
West Ham 0.
What happened? Sorry, I was just caught off guard. There was just a telestrated penis during the national championship.
Oh, well, how about that?
Man drew a penis on TV. Nottingham Forest, a club that used to be something.
Yeah, it used to be something.
Used to be a big deal.
They've been knocking on the Premier League door a couple times over the last few seasons. Seem like it's a side that should have come up a couple times, but just haven't been able to eke it out. Absolutely drubbing a West Ham side that are pretty much shit this year, except for against Tottenham. So,
yeah, they got their number.
After the match,
a small child was crying.
Yeah, a small child was definitely crying. Some kid caught on TV crying in the stands.
Just bawling.
Yeah, just bawling.
Just life had come to an end.
If that was bad for him, I'm sure the hell he got on social media was about 1,000 times worse. And out of the graciousness of Gold and Sullivan, the owners of West Ham, they have offered him up a spot at the director's box for the next home match.
There's no crying in the director's box. No. I hope he knows that.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. We'll find out for sure. So, huge match, big result for the championship contenders. Couple other matches of note that went down in this round of the FA Cup.
How about City? City. This is the worst thing about the FA Cup. You'd almost rather lose sometimes than draw.
Because there are replays.
Because then there's replays. So that's a whole other week of you trotting out a squad, doing rotation, trying to get things right for a match that, especially if you weren't expected to win that first one, the second one's not going to go much better, and you're just wasting tread on the tires.
Yep. Definitely not something that they were looking forward to. Now they have to go to Blackburn, where people may or may not throw chickens out on the field. So things to worry about for City as well.
Do you want to throw some love to Southend United? 4-1 winners over Millwall.
Huh.
That's another League Two side getting it done.
Yeah, getting it done against higher competition. Millwall in the championship. Everyone's most hated team if you've ever watched Green Street Hooligans.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you've seen that, they're officially now the team that murders other fans.
Yeah, so hate on those murderers.
With ashtrays.
And everyone's now Southend fans.
Other Premier League sides, just running down the list here. Hull City 2-0 over Middlesbrough. Crystal Palace takes out West Brom 2-0.
Sunderland win 3-1 over Carlisle United. The only other really notable match from the round has to be, and we hinted at this earlier, United losing at home again, this time to Swansea City.
2-1.
They just can't get it done at home right now.
Yeah, packaging together these losses, not helping the Moyes situation.
No. So
losses here and there are great, but when they start coming in groups, that's when the pressure really gets turned up. That's when that week absolutely blows for you.
Yeah. He's going to be fighting this rumor for a while now, and shoot, they could make a couple signings in January and everything could be turned around. So we'll have to see how this all plays out.
I would say he's avoiding eye contact around the halls of Old Trafford these days.
Yeah, most likely. If he sees the Glazers, he just turns around and walks the other direction.
Of course, luckily for Moyes, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are hot garbage as well. So Glazers,
they're just content.
They're just saying, we own a lot of crappy teams right now.
Yeah. Interested to see if they actually get the itchy finger and pull the trigger and fire Moyes.
On Sunday, though, I will point out Liverpool and Chelsea did get 2-0 victories over their opponents. I guess, I don't know, rehashing it one last time, though, FA Cup, I don't know, here in the States, well, it doesn't sound like it's much of a big deal anymore over there, but here especially, there's no history here for us to really kind of glom onto. It's only been really on TV for the past couple years.
Yeah. It's tough to get latched in.
Do you care? Does FA Cup do anything for you? Or is it well, at least I get to see my team play, so whatever.
Yeah. Now, when I move forward with Spurs knocked out, I'll be well, this just will be a weekend where I can get some shit done.
Yeah, you can do some housework.
Yeah. So, we'll see how it pans out. Maybe some interesting ties.
Let's move on to some news.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we kind of just mentioned this right kind of as we started. Sepp Blatter just saying to was it like a Swiss newspaper?
Yeah, I think so.
Admitting that the thing we all knew, the World Cup preparations are well behind in Brazil.
Mm-hmm. Didn't he get the memo?
Did he not hear about the crane crash? Did he not hear about the fact that there were like stadiums that were well behind? I mean, we knew about this like 2-3 months ago. We were aware of this.
I think everyone knew about it longer ago than that. I mean, we've known for years that Brazil was getting a late start on these projects.
Yeah.
And it's not just stadiums, it's infrastructure and airports, things that need to be done to host a World Cup that they just have kind of said, well, screw it, we're not going to get those done. We'll focus on the stadiums. Well, now the stadiums are still falling to pieces while they're building them. So Brazil will likely, I mean, I think there's a real chance that a couple of the stadiums won't be done in time to host the World Cup.
No, which begs the question, what are you going to, so what do you do? Like, what are you doing with that? Are you
just not letting fans sit in those portions of the stadium?
Overflowing, I mean, are you taking other venues that are ready and now instead of 2 groups play their matches there, 3 groups play their matches there?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how this is going to be rectified. The problem is FIFA just aren't going to be held accountable for this.
No. Why would that happen?
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's never happened before.
They keep taking their black eyes and just turning the other cheek and saying, punch me again, because we're fine.
We're still making
comforting
money.
Ourselves with all this money.
All this money.
Dries my tears.
Yeah. Hookers and blow.
Yep.
Does the body good for Sepp Blatter.
Doing it big. But that isn't the only news that's making headlines in January.
It's January.
Yeah.
So we're talking transfers. We're talking a bunch of things. First, let's do this. As a Spurs fan, if you could have the club do one thing, whether it's sign a player, fill a position, add some depth, or not sell X, Y, and Z, what do you want Spurs to do in this transfer period if you could pick one thing for them to do? Top priority.
If I'm living in fantasy world,
I think that's where we are.
Yeah.
Your living room is fantasy world.
It is right now. I would actually have all of the summer reverse. And we give all of the players back that we brought in and bring Gareth Bale back.
So you're taking a mulligan.
I'm just taking a mulligan
on the entire summer.
On the entire summer transfer window. That's what I really want. That's not realistic. So what would I really like to have happen? I have no fucking clue. I don't even know. There are so many different ways that we could talk about improving this team. The one player we've been linked to the most so far has been Joleon Lescott, coming in to help save our center, the center of our defense. And maybe that would be a good signing.
Is defense the worst aspect of, I mean, if you were to break it up into 3 phases, is the defense the worst part of the team right now?
I mean, possibly. It's a very patchy back line. We very rarely ever played with a consistent back line. Dawson seems to just not be capable of it, although his last match out was probably the best we've seen him play this season. There are a lot of things that we don't know what's going on with this team. We still don't know. And I'm really hesitant to say this is the grand solution. And
you're set with Adebayor kind of, is he officially is he the top seat on the depth chart for the striker?
Well, possibly. Right, I think he and Soldado need to be playing together, and I feel like I spent a lot of time defending Soldado. But
I think we talked about this last week. You not a huge fan of the 4-2-3-1?
I actually, if I were picking my own teams, that's how I would actually line up.
So how would that work then with Adebayor and Soldado, though?
You can't play them in that.
Right.
In that, so I'm not against the 4-4-2. I think it's benefited them the way that the two both play. They both tend to work the channels, and when one works the channels out wide, one tends to stay more at home in the center, and I think it's working right now. I don't know that it's the long-term solution, but I do think that there's merit to the way they're playing up top. They do need to continue getting better service out of their wingers, and I think that's something that would have benefited us if we were still playing with the 4-2-3-1.
Or had you gotten Willian?
Yeah, maybe. Whatever the case may be, I'm not sold on Soldado and Adebayor playing in a 4-4-2. I do think that with Defoe likely being off to Toronto
Yeah,
here,
apparently.
That's the big rumor at the moment.
As soon as him and Samuel Eto'o can fuse their bodies together.
Yeah. I do think Spurs need to bring in another striker. If I had to pick one area of the pitch where we absolutely need to solidify, I think it's depth at striker. Because we know sooner rather than later Defoe's going to go.
So if you're talking about depth, though, and you're talking about Tottenham, who's not exactly, let's splash the cash, I mean, give us kind of like a range of what kind of a player that would be.
I think we're looking at 10 to 15 million. They're going to try to look for a bargain buy. It's either going to be a player with experience that has done it other places, but is maybe on the downswing.
So an older dude?
Or it's going to be a splash on a younger player, kind of taking a chance and saying, well, he could potentially blossom. But in all honesty, we probably won't buy a striker. We'll probably end up buying a defender and loaning someone, and that will probably be the end of story.
Yay, loaning.
Yeah, loans.
So
Chelsea.
This is really tough. What do they need? Oh, yeah, that's right. They definitely need a striker. They need a striker. They don't need a striker. Let me rephrase that. They need a goal scorer.
Yes.
We have strikers. We have 3 of them. They're very talented. They
have many fine attributes.
Yeah, they have a lot of finesse, a lot of fast pace. But it's about putting the ball into the back of the net, which is kind of the main thing you want your striker to do.
Yeah, it's something that's
if you want them to be good at one thing, scoring goals would probably be top of that list.
Yeah, people say that about Soldado too. So
we don't want Soldado apparently. Yeah. Honestly, it's like part of you want to find what Chelsea used to have. You want to find a big, physical striker. The problem is, the best example of one, you technically already own. You were just idiots and loaned off.
I was just going to say, I think you guys actually already own
We already have one of those.
Player.
We just gave him away for a year.
Well, there's no way he's coming back. They've already said he's not coming back this season, so who aside from Lukaku, would you guys bring in?
It's funny, I don't see it happening, but the rumor of Balotelli came out, and I was like, that would actually kind of work. Like, that's kind of the guy we're looking for. Like, he's a freak show, too, but hey, so is Mourinho, so take a number.
I could see those two working well together, although they clashed when they were both at Inter. So
they did.
It seems pretty unlikely
and
that they'd take another stab at him.
It was kind of a weird rumor that happened, and both sides were kind of like, no, we don't want that.
I totally expect you to say someone like Falcao.
He would be good, too. I don't know what the situation is there. I mean, I feel like he's attainable, but I don't know. I'm worried because everything out of Mourinho's mouth is how they're not going to do things.
Well, never trust Mourinho.
Well, and Abramovich has already given the green light. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a striker, and it's a striker who's different than the strikers we already have.
Yeah.
Someone physical, someone big,
and
someone who actually scores. So that's what we need.
You'll probably get him in the summer, and then you may not keep him.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got... we have midfielders in spades. We have... Honestly, our defense could be better. And there might be moves in that just because of players going out means players coming in.
Right.
And there's been some links in that. I don't read much into any of that because everyone's just linking former Mourinho players.
Yeah. Drogba's probably available. The price is right.
So yeah, fun stuff. The rumor mill. I mean, we're early into January, so we have plenty of time for people to freak out and pretend and read false rumors and
So don't take too much from what the further rumors that we're getting ready to talk about here in just a minute, because there's a lot that could not come true here, and a lot that we're probably missing that will. So,
But who will be the guy who will hang out in the parking lot until he's signed?
if it can't be
Odom Wangy.
Odom Wangy this year, I could see Anelka doing it. You know, he's finding himself in hot water. He
Yeah,
seems like the
he's-
type of guy that would
he's-
drive to someone's parking lot and say, "Hey, you guys were going to sign me. Let's make this happen."
I would say Tottenham probably not the spot for him right now.
No, I don't want him. Let's
No.
not do that. Don't
You don't
even
want
start that rumor.
He can possibly score goals. I mean, he waited till just now to score any of them.
If that catches fire, I'm going to burn down your house. So,
How dare you?
yeah.
Let's talk about some actual rumors that exist right now.
Mm-hmm.
How about Aaron Johansson linked to Stoke? Please tell me this is not true.
I don't want this to happen.
This cannot stop taking our Americans and then burying them in your stupid squad that
Yeah.
doesn't score goals.
Yeah, remember Maurice Edu?
Yeah. His face is on a milk carton right
Yeah, I think so. Breck Shea had to escape to the worst team in the championship to get minutes.
now. Going to the worst team in the championship was a better deal than staying with Stoke. Let's say that out loud.
Only Jeff Cameron seems to have solved the puzzle of American players finding their way into Stoke City's starting lineup. So Stoke are not an offensive powerhouse. Mark Hughes has a tendency of buying players and them fizzling out. Johansson is playing well for AZ in Holland, scoring goals regularly still.
Of course, we know of another guy an American who scored goals regularly
for AZ.
And didn't seem to translate so far that well.
Yeah, so I don't want this to happen. Don't go there, Aaron, if you're listening to this and you're not. But if you somehow do, don't go.
Don't do it.
It's bad for us and for your newly adopted national team.
Do you think let's kind of stick with America. Do you think any other Americans, when we had Shea finally broke free,
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we have anyone else and we had Dempsey go?
Yeah, Dempsey's on loan at Fulham. You know, there are always the possibility of MLS loans coming through, and I think we may see a shock one potentially. But who that's going to be, I don't know. A lot of times we see the LA Galaxy. They do it a lot with their players. But Bruce Arena has straight up said we're not loaning players this January because they're really taking a focus to the CONCACAF Champions League this year, which is a bit of an oddity for MLS.
Yeah.
Who we might see, it's probably going to be someone that you wouldn't really expect. Jeff Cameron originally got his start over in England by going out on loan, and that's how it started for him. So we may see this happen again. I just don't know who it's going to be. I'm not really expecting any big name moves. The only other American that's really made headlines at all was Oguchi Onyewu.
Yeah. Where do you go, QPR?
He went to QPR.
How's that going?
Well, the best he could do was make the bench 6 times. So
Sweet.
didn't really pan out for him.
And QPR's they're doing amazingly well, right?
Yeah, they're doing really well in the championship. They're at the top of the pile, probably going to see themselves bounce back up. They should, given the amount of decent players on that roster. So, but Onyewu just couldn't crack through. So he is not going to be re-signing with them.
Bummer.
Yeah, a lot of people potentially him moving back to MLS.
No, that'd be nice.
Whether or not he's willing to take non-designated player money is another situation entirely. For a guy that's played, well,
that's a bitter pill to swallow there.
I mean, he played at AC Milan and for Sporting in Portugal, big clubs. So it's got to be a bit of an ego bruiser.
So
for him
he's not taking 40 G's to go play at Kansas City.
No, but I think he'll get a bit more than 40 G's if he comes back to MLS. So maybe not a bad idea to go there.
65.
Yeah. But let's talk about some of the other, kind of big name players that are on the move or potentially on the move.
Well, I guess technically now it's official. Robert Lewandowski.
Mm-hmm. The news everyone knew. Going to Bayern.
It's kind of a crappy deal. This is the second year in a row that a top player from Dortmund is snatched up mid-season, yet won't leave till after the season.
Yeah. So, in this particular case, Lewandowski's contract's out in the summer. He was allowed to agree to a new contract as early as January with a new team. It's been known for years that he was going to Bayern next. And that's just the narrative has been that way.
It was. I mean, there was a few times where you thought maybe an EPL side like a Chelsea or a City or even United were going to swoop in over the summer or swoop in even now. That's all done now.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to Bayern Munich, and it kind of sucks because, for people like you and me who we care about the EPL.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bayern Munich, yeah, fantastic, but I care about the EPL.
Right.
And that's a big name player who scores spectacular goals. I mean, you think about what he did in the semifinals last year in the Champions League.
He was a machine.
The likelihood now of us seeing that in the EPL, not great.
No. Another big name player going to Bayern from Germany. I think it's just something that people that play in Germany, you want to someday play for Bayern. It's just, it's something that you want to do. So
it's the Yankees.
Yeah,
it
is. And, a lot's been made of this. Bayern, they keep sucking up all these good players. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention or not. Bayern have been doing this in the Bundesliga forever. So this is not a new trend. They just tend to have been picking up better players recently. So
how does that work for, Dortmund? Like, what kind of marketing campaign do you have to your fan base?
Well,
because every big name seems to run for the exits as soon as they can, and the exit always leads
to Bayern Munich,
your arch rival.
For them, it doesn't seem to be too big of an issue. They seem to recover fairly fine and find a replacement. At some point, it's going to catch up to them, and this may have been the straw that will. And there's already talk of who the next big player to leave for them is, and a lot of the talk has been Marco Reus.
The United, that's one of the many people United's looking at.
So, what happens for Bayern from here, I don't know. But it's definitely a little, or for Dortmund, it's concerning. So
it sucks, because I like Dortmund, and I hate to see that even amongst their own players, they are second fiddle.
Yeah. Sometimes that's the way it goes.
It blows.
Yes.
Anything else? Any other big news?
Well, I think there was a bit of an MLS kind of transfer snafu that's been going down.
Let's talk about this. So,
Camilo.
Golden Boot winner.
Golden Boot winner in MLS. Good player for the Vancouver Whitecaps. He was really kind of the soul of their side this year.
Had a 2014 option, club option, I guess. Apparently, where the club apparently takes this option, yet he didn't know about it, and so he just went and signed with a Liga MX squad.
Yeah, so that's he went down and signed for Querétaro, a team in Mexico, and seemed to think he was allowed to do so. But in MLS, you're not allowed to, on options, decline if a team picks you up. So if they decide to take that team option on the last year of your contract, they pick you up, and you can't really dispute that. You're there for that next year. Camilo and his agent didn't seem to know that fact. And they
just thought
we're just going to decline that, and we're going to go down here to Mexico where I'm going to get more money. And that's where the Brazilian went. And today he was pictured in one of their kits.
On their official Twitter?
Yeah. So, big news there. The Whitecaps have stood firm saying, well, he's going to show up for preseason at the end of the month. MLS has said the same thing. His transfer documents are apparently still being held by the Canadian Football Association, who should be holding them at the moment if his contract does indeed belong to Vancouver. So it's a very interesting situation developing. This is the second kind of thing like this for MLS in the last couple of weeks.
It's just kind of a weird deal. MLS they're looking weak.
Yeah.
Kind of. This is the second time. You mentioned it earlier. They had some other signings, again, by Liga MX take place with MLS players. And MLS kind of just comes up lame.
Yeah.
And kind of waits to talk about these signings.
Mm-hmm. So the other deal that we were talking about there is Jose Villarreal, the young up-and-coming U.S. men's national team player. Well, not yet on the full men's team, but he's been on the youth teams for Los Angeles. And Farfan from Philadelphia, another good young player.
Oh, yeah. They love him in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
When I was at the All-Star game last year, they just chanted his name the entire, 10 minutes that he actually played.
Well, both of them show up for Cruz Azul. Them alongside another MLS player. And the league was silent about this for days at a time.
Mum is the word.
And as it turns out, those were all loan deals, and they're supposedly coming back to their teams, although with the Farfan deal, supposedly there's an option to buy. Potentially moves by Mexican clubs to maybe help out the Mexican national team down the road. I don't know. But MLS is looking a little weak at the moment. It's kind of odd. But it's also weird because MLS transfer rumors are making a bit of headlines, which is also a little odd in itself as well. So something to kind of watch. MLS teams aren't going to be done in this transfer window. We're going to see more of this, whether it's teams going to Europe, staying in Mexico, whatever it may be. MLS is now kind of relevant in January, which is kind of cool.
All right. Guess that'll do it for our first edition under the new settings.
Yeah, the new settings. It's a little comfy.
It is nice.
We can enjoy some beers.
Join imbibing here on some Rivertown and some Lion and Kugel.
Mm-hmm.
Got a Newcastle going on there.
Yeah, we're being eclectic here, but for the time being, I kind of enjoy the new surroundings.
This is nice. I just sit here, watch a man who sneaked away from a sexual assault charge, win a national championship while we're doing our podcast.
Hey, it makes for a night. As always, if you have any questions for us, be sure to send those in either to Wrong Side of Pond on Twitter or Jeremy Lance on Twitter as well. And you can always hit us on email at wrongsideofpond@gmail.com.
So we got a full slate of games coming up here this weekend, and gotta be honest, on paper, not a lot of great matches.
No.
If you're a fan of Arsenal Villa,
you can catch that on Monday.
Yeah, there's that.
The highlight match on Sunday is Stoke-Liverpool, so...
Yowzers.
Mm-hmm. You could maybe give it to City Newcastle. That's probably a bit more attractive.
Yeah. Saturday's United Swansea match. They just played this past week, so... Can United get the revenge?
Yeah,
we'll
revenge
see.
Some demons at
Hopefully
home.
not. How about West Ham, Cardiff? Two teams in different types of turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
Cardiff in the turmoil of the fact that they're run by a Bond villain. West Ham turmoil in the fact that they're just not very good.
No,
they're just hot garbage right now.
Yeah, so maybe the bottom of the table is where next weekend's excitement will be coming from.
Well, either way, we'll wrap that up next week. We also, I'm sure by this time next week, there's got to be at least like a transfer deal.
Something will have happened.
Something.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that. Otherwise,
we'll be drinking.
Yeah, we'll be drinking.
In your living room, so that's always fun.
Cheers to that.
I'm in on that.
All right, cool.
Alrighty.
See you guys.